All right, everyone, let's get you all caught up on college football, the noon window here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. If you're coming across us for the very first time, we talk college football, discussion, debate, and analysis like nobody else online. Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Just check out all the videos and stay with us throughout the week as we take you through the week of college football, from previews and predictions up through game analysis through Saturday into Sunday. All right, here we go. We've got Wisconsin just missing on a fourth down opportunity. They had just scored a touchdown on their previous series to give themselves a little bit of life, but too many fumbles in the second half with a new starting quarterback, Alex Hornibrook, out of the game, and Jack Cohn. We hear good things about him in regards to his throwing ability, his talent, that maybe it's an upgrade from Alex Hornibrook, but not today. Not today. Not able to get the job done. Quarterback, running back exchange issues between Cohn and Jonathan Taylor set up Northwestern with a fumble at the 15-yard line. That was huge in this game. And Jonathan Taylor has put the ball on the ground a couple more times, and Northwestern is going to pull off a minor upset here. They lead 31-17. There's about 5 minutes left in the game. And again, Wisconsin has just given it up on downs, and Northwestern's got control of the game at 31-17. This is significant. Despite Northwestern's lackluster 4-3 record, they will now have control of the Big Ten Western Division. Sure, they have not played Iowa or Purdue. Well, they beat Purdue in week one. They beat Purdue week one, 34-32. So they've got the win in hand against Purdue. They will have beaten Wisconsin. And Iowa lost head-to-head to Wisconsin. The winner of this game, Wisconsin-Northwestern, with the Wildcats leading by 14 with about 4 minutes left, has control of the Big Ten Western Division. Now, the other big game, of course, is Purdue and Michigan State. And Purdue at last look, and I'll switch to that in just a second. Purdue and Michigan State, Sparty has come out. That's what I feared in making this prediction, with Purdue looking so good the last 4 weeks and Sparty up and down and struggling last week in particular against Michigan. They had over 100 yards of total offense in the first quarter after only mounting 94 yards of total offense the entire game against Michigan. And so Michigan State was leading Purdue with about 4 minutes left and the score 16-13, but Purdue had made a big play. I'm going to switch to that game. And, of course, two big games in the ACC, Clemson, Florida State, the marquee matchup. The brand names bring us and draw us to that matchup. And, of course, that was front and center for me at noon, was Florida State, Clemson. I had Michigan State, Purdue on the side. I had Wisconsin, Northwestern on the side, keeping my eyes on those on the laptop. But on the big 50-inch was Florida State and Clemson. And what happened? Even though I took Florida State in the 18 points, this is what I thought was going to happen, and I should have went with my instincts. Florida State outplayed Clemson during the first quarter. They actually did, and we'll get to that in just a second because I took notes on the game, but they didn't take full opportunity and made too many mistakes, and then the Clemson steamroller gained steam and rolled over Florida State. It was 28-0 at half. I have not watched the second half. It's not worth watching. 45-3 was the last score. 52-3 was the last score I saw. I'm, of course, going to check the chat room, but also want to get you caught up on Virginia with a key game against North Carolina. So keep this in mind. We've got Virginia, like Northwestern, not necessarily a team you think of controlling a division going into November, but Virginia has already beaten Miami. They will have wins over North Carolina as well. They have defeated Duke. Virginia would control the division, the Coastal Division, with a matchup against Virginia Tech. Obviously, the last weekend of the season, the annual rivalry game that Virginia has not won in forever. They lead North Carolina right now 31-21. There is just about 2 minutes left in the game. I don't see where the ball's positioned on the field. I've got this on the ACC network right now. Virginia and North Carolina Cavs lead it 31-21 with 2 minutes left in the game. So they should be in good shape. A backdoor cover by the Heels would not be a bad thing here. I've got my Carolina blue on, backdoor cover. They don't win the game. Virginia still wins, so you get what you want, Cavalier fans. I get what I want. Doesn't look like it's going to happen, though. Virginia's got the football, I believe. Yes, they do. And they're at the North Carolina 35-yard line. They just need to run out the clock, and it looks like they're going to do that. They just ran for a first down, and I believe they can kneel down from here. All right, Virginia with a huge win here. All right, let's get to the Purdue and Michigan State game, and then I'll check out the chat. We're all driving toward that 3:30 window with Georgia, Florida. Don't forget Iowa, Penn State, a huge one in the Big Ten as well. I will take phone calls at 860-325-3687. I apologize again for not having that on the screen. We will work on that during the offseason. 860-325-3687. Put it on your refrigerator. Put it next to your nightstand, whatever you need to do. 860-325-3687. Northwestern's beaten Wisconsin. They're in victory formation. All right, obviously the one game that means a ton that is still being played is Purdue and Michigan State. Here we go, Purdue, Michigan State. Let's see where we stand. So we've got 2:48 left in the game. Michigan State, I believe, has the ball, a 3rd and 1. And again, I should have went instincts over logistics. Everything told us that Michigan State, not healthy. They lost their best wide receiver last week, Felton Davis. They had lost already before that 3 of their top 5 wide receivers. They've got nothing to play for. They're out of the division race. They've got a backup quarterback in, Rocky Lombardi. What a name. That is the name of the year, Rocky Lombardi. Filling in for Brian Lewerke, who's got a bum shoulder. And I believe some concussion issues, but definitely the bum shoulder. Coming off a 5 for 25 game against Michigan. So backup quarterback in, best wide receiver on the sideline, other 3 out of top 5 wide receivers sidelined, nothing to play for in terms of the championship, taking on a Purdue team that was tied for first place in the Big Ten Western Division. This is what happens. Michigan State looks like they're going to salt away a win 16-13. Again, we are at 860-325-3687. And we'll check out the live chat. My computer will cooperate. Yeah, we don't need to see this game anymore. Exit. What's the problem? Okay. So you guys tell me what's on your minds, and we'll get to it. It is almost 3:30, and we're headed toward a 3:30. Of course, the kick's about 3:37, Georgia, Florida. So I will probably not keep you guys long unless we do a little watch party, and I should have planned that, but I still have some things up in the air. So at noon, I'm organizing this. Not only am I just ordering helmets like a madman, I'm organizing. So there's a theme here. There's going to be a theme, as long as I remember. There's going to be a theme here. So Wisconsin and Clemson didn't play each other, or we would go with that if they were playing each other. Wisconsin and Clemson, the only 2 teams in the noon window that I knew who were playing. And yes, my gut instincts were like 4 for 4 in the early window, but my work in the math, work in the logistics, 0 for 4. Awful picks at noon. Awful picks. All right, let's see what you guys have. 860-325-3687. We've got nobody around. I just checked out the live chat. I thought this would be a big one with Clemson and Florida State, and Purdue, Michigan State, a huge game. Northwestern, Wisconsin, a huge game. So I guess I'll just shut it down. Navy Thomas, Nebraska wins its 2nd game. Ohio State is next. That's all we've got in the live chat right now. So I know this takes a while to warm up, and I know I didn't warn you guys, and I'm still anticipating a Georgia-Florida watch party. I actually have my son on the phone texting me, asking me And I was asked by a few people last week whether we would do a Georgia-Florida, Florida-Georgia watch party. Talk about Clemson dominating. Dang. All right, this is what I've got in my notes from Clemson, Florida State. So, first drive, Florida State goes 3 and out. They punted from their own end. They got a really good punt out to midfield. Clemson was in great shape at the 50. So, the Florida State defense did what it did for much of the first quarter. I don't know when Clemson scored, but they scored off a penalty off the roughing the kicker. The Florida State defense looked really good. They did their job early in the game, and it played out to script. This is what you figured would happen, would be Florida State's got the athletes and the defense to be able to hang in the game, but Clemson's just going to have such an easy time on defense themselves that the Florida State offense is going to have no prayer because they don't have not just the offensive line. The offensive line is awful for Florida State, and then you match it up against the best defensive line in the country, and it's just a mess. But Francois is a good quarterback. He's not great. He's a very good quarterback, and he was going to get beat up, and he's gotten beat up in this matchup in previous years. But the wide receiver talent at Florida State is not what it should be. And these guys let the team down too. But it was mostly, if there's a mismatch in this game on the field, we knew what it was, and it played out. The Florida State offensive line against the Clemson defensive front. So Francois, after the 0 for 3 and out, and then Clemson gets the ball at the 50, Florida State's defense stepped up. They did that 2 or 3 consecutive series to start the game where Clemson had nice field position, but Florida State shut them down. And then they had that ridiculous series where Francois hit a couple passes. They got out to midfield, and then they got thrown back because they airmailed a snap, and then they had a 15-yard personal foul against Cam Akers that gave them a 2nd and 43 play. So that obviously sabotaged that series, even though Francois hit 2 passes to midfield. So then they punted deep from their own end, and Florida State held Clemson again. The pass rush was good early in the game for Florida State. Clemson shanked a punt, and Florida State was set up at the 45-yard line. But Naquan Murray dropped a pass that would have taken them down to the 30, and Florida State blew good field position again. Keith Gavin had a 3rd and 6 drop that was key in this game when it was still close. Okay, and then Clemson got it rolling late in the first quarter. That's when Justin Ross caught the slant for 41 yards. Really duped the defensive back on that play, and Dexter Lawrence is a really good player. Trevor Lawrence, kid's got talent. Boy, he can sling it, because Francois is a good quarterback, but to compare him and Trevor Lawrence in terms of just natural throwing ability and velocity on the ball, wow. Florida State was excellent in man-to-man coverage early in the game again when they had their fight in them and when they saw some hope. The man-to-man coverage was good. They were shutting down Clemson. Clemson missed the field goal. This is when it all came unraveled. No score with just a couple minutes left in the first quarter. So Florida State almost survived the first quarter, and I think this was still in the first quarter. That's when Clemson missed the field goal, and then we had Asante Samuel with a roughing the kicker penalty, and then all hell breaks loose. T. Higgins with the jump ball touchdown, 7-0. Then after that, T. Higgins one-on-one on another play down near the goal line, 14-0. Clemson's won 4 consecutive now in the series against Florida State. The Clemson pass rush took over. Christian Wilkins on the play where DeAndre Francois threw the bad interception down the middle of the field to Trey Lamar, who picked it off and ran it all the way back to the FSU 30. Well, the reason Francois threw a bad pass was Christian Wilkins was like on top of him. So Francois gets picked off by Lamar. Lamar brings it back. That sets up the third touchdown, then the fourth touchdown. And meanwhile, the Florida State offense is going 3-and-out, 3-and-out, 3-and-out. And you got 28-0 like that. And then I checked out because I was done at halftime, 28-0, because we had Northwestern Wisconsin and we had Purdue and Michigan State. And Michigan State has officially knocked out Purdue here 23-13. So Sparty goes to 5-3. Purdue falls to 4-4. More importantly, in the conference, yes, Michigan State still has 3 losses or 2 losses in the conference. They're not going to win anything significant in the conference. They're going to be a spoiler as they are here. Purdue, this is a huge loss for them and very predictable. Not that I did, but very predictable. Typical classic letdown. Beat Ohio State by 29, go on the road. Michigan State's beat up and banged up, backup quarterback, don't have their best wide receiver. They win. Very predictable. Mark D'Antonio's been doing this for years. All right, so we're kicking off Iowa, Penn State, and, of course, Georgia, Florida. I think what we'll do here, folks, maybe we'll reconvene around the TV set, if you'd like, for a Georgia-Florida watch party. So I'm going to come right back. And for you Georgia-Florida fans, we're going to be focused on that game. But you're going to have to deal with me commenting on Penn State and Iowa, too. Those 2 games, really, I'm into. Georgia-Florida and Penn State, Iowa. All right, we've got Georgia over Florida, according to Cash Boy D. All right, guys, I hate to do this to you. I've got Iowa over Penn State as well. Hate to do this to you guys, but I believe I'm going to shut this down for naming purposes, and I'm going to go with a Georgia-Florida watch party, and we're going to fire it up right now. So we'll come right back, hang right here on the front page. This link is coming out in a minute. Georgia-Florida watch party.